Hello and welcome to Adrenal Repair. So today I'm going to do a short video talking about depersonalization and derealization. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people walking around out there dealing with this and they don't know what's wrong with them. Their head's in the dark, they're scared, looking for answers, and they just can't find any answers to why it's happening to them. Okay, you might go to the doctor, you explain the symptoms to the doctor, he doesn't know what it is, he ends up handing medication, usually antidepressants, anti-anxieties, and send you on your way, which isn't going to get to the underlying cause, to what the root of the problem is. I'm here to tell you, you're not going crazy, and it's actually your body is acting normal to the feeling of threat, of being under threat for usually over a long period of time, the accumulation of stress over a long period of time. Okay, it's really important to understand how the nervous system works to understand DP and DR, okay? There's going to be a link to a documentary below, which will go into a lot more detail on the nervous system. Highly recommend checking it out. And they talk about different methods on how to reset the nervous system. Okay, talk therapy isn't great for something that traumatizes the system. Okay, talk therapy is great for mental emotional stress, but when your nervous system is shook and it's burnt out, yeah, we need to take a different approach. And SE therapy seems to be very effective. That's somatic experience, and EMDR. So again, you'll see all that. You'll learn about that in that video that I'm going to leave the link to below. Okay, so make sure you click on that after this video. So I'm going to keep this pretty simple, and I'm just going to talk about first the two different types of nervous systems. Okay, you got a sympathetic, which is known for flight or fight, or flight, fight, and freeze. And then your parasympathetic, which is known for rest and digest. So your sympathetic nervous system, it's primal. Its job is, it just cares about survival, okay? We needed this a lot more way back in the day when we were living out in the wild and we had all sorts of threats around us, from animals trying to hunt us and other tribes trying to come in and take over. So we need to be able to kick into that flight or fight mode, okay, very quick. Then the other system is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is rest and digest. Okay, this is where we want to be. This is where the body's comfortable, it's functioning properly, the body's digesting the food that we eat, it's detoxifying, and this is a good place. This is where we want to be. Okay. Now, the sympathetic gets turned on due to stress. Okay, and it cannot tell the difference between being attacked by an animal or financial issues, relationship issues. All these stresses build up the same in the body, and the body just reacts to it through triggering the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, so let's look at an animal in the wild. Let's say the zebra. He's eating grass, just chilling out, life is good, parasympathetic, and he's just having a good time. Okay, in the distance he sees a lion. Okay, this marble is going to represent the central nervous system. He sees a lion in the distance, okay? So that nervous system starts to ramp up and it sits here on this ledge. Okay, so now the zebra is keeping his eye out, getting ready to take off running if he has to be, but he hasn't kicked into full flight or fight mode yet. It's just getting ready, watching, okay? So let's say the lion does attack the zebra and the zebra takes off running. Okay, so now he's in full flight or fight mode. Alright, so he's maxing out, he's sprinting, running for his life. He can only last so long at this level. Okay, this is with the foot on the, like if you think of a sports car, you're flat out, redlining. It can only last so long, okay, until it starts to run out of gas or it starts to wind down. So this is where, let's say the lion has been chasing for some time, and then eventually the zebra starts to kind of give up and thinking, oh, he's not going to escape. The nervous system starts to ramping down, okay? So it starts making its way down. This doesn't feel good to the zebra because he knows what's waiting for him when he gets caught. Okay, so let's say eventually the lion catches the zebra, and then worst case scenario, the zebra gets eaten by the lion. While he's getting eaten, the body has a mechanism to cope with that. Okay, and try to make it as easy as possible, and it separates itself from emotions and feelings, okay, which is what you experience with depersonalization, derealization. Let's look at now a human following this chart, okay? So let's say this is the perfect life. No one ever has the perfect life, okay? And we got stresses coming in, mental, emotional stress, which is relationship, stresses, financial stresses, security stress. If our home environment doesn't feel safe, that's a big one to trigger the nervous system. Again, that goes back to in the wild. If we don't have a tribe, if we don't feel safe, if we're isolated on our own, people living on their own and not socializing, that can be a big one, because the nervous system will ramp up when it doesn't feel it has that security. Okay, so all these stresses will accumulate. So there's the mental emotional stress and say the safety stress, as well as any structural stress. If you have any trauma to your body, any injuries, weak muscles, slip discs in your back, hip issues, all this again causes inflammation and releases more of the stress hormone. And then the last one is chemical and biochemical stresses. So there's toxins that we breathe in, food sensitivities, parasites, all these type of things accumulate stress in the gut. So you got mental, emotional, structural, and chemical, biochemical. So all this accumulates and leaves a lot of people up here on that ledge. Okay, the body feels all the stresses, but it's not been attacked yet, so it doesn't really need to kick into full flight or fight. But this anxiety and worry, and people can go a long time on this ledge, and you can never fully relax and settle until they do something with all those stresses. Alright, so let's say after, again, everybody's different genetic potentials, but let's say after a few weeks of heavy stress, then all of a sudden the panic attack kicks in. That's the flight or fight mode. That's when the nervous system's like, I don't know what's going on here, there must be a threat, there must be an animal around, get out of here, and it just rings the alarm bells, and this is the panic attack. Okay, now some people kind of float up and down from here to the ledge into like the panic area, and they might have a little panic attack for a bit and then come back down, but they're always in that anxiety and always in that feeling of fear the whole time, and they can never fully relax, and kind of triggering panic attacks every couple of weeks or every other day. Then you have the worst case scenario, which is the panic disorder. And this is what happened to me a few years ago, and I got stuck. I was like redlining panic attacks every day. And this is where the body feels like it's under enormous threat. Now I kept feeding it through worry, thinking I was taking a heart attack, and that just feeds it. It just feeds the fear and keeps this revved up. So I was dealing with these panic attacks day in, day out, to eventually they started to ease off. Alright? But what was happening was, just like with the zebra, it was under chase for so long, eventually it was like, I can't keep this up anymore, started to wind down and pretty much preparing for the worst. And my body reacted the exact same way. So as my panic attack started to ease, my nervous system was winding down. And again, this doesn't feel good because it's getting ready. If you look at that zebra, it's getting ready to get eaten by that lion. So this is where depression can kick in. Depression's pretty common here. And for me, this is when, after my panic attacks, that's when I kind of got myself into a dark patch, and it was pretty rough. Now, the nervous system will keep winding down if the stresses are still around, and I'm feeding these stresses with worries and worrying, am I going crazy, and blah, 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 blah. Eventually, depersonalization and derealization. This is when the nervous system hits rock bottom. Okay, your adrenal glands that deal with stresses, adrenal glands release the stress hormone cortisol to give you that energy to flight and fight. But again, if we're under this threat for so long, those adrenal glands get tired, start slowing down the production of the stress hormone, and ends up pretty much burnt out. So if we want to reset the nervous system, we need to bring this marble back down to the beginning. We can't just go straight over. We have to convince the nervous system that there's no threat, everything's okay, and kind of get yourself back into that parasympathetic rest and digest, and back to homeostasis where the body's functioning properly. So what I find is a lot of people, it's hard for them to step out of this because they're saying those adrenals are burnt out from all the stresses. So the goal is try to get rid of as much stress as possible. You can imagine you got a bucket, and all the mental emotional stress goes in there, any structural stress, that's like any stress to your body, if you have any injuries, if you're in an accident and you broke an arm, or any inflammation around your body, all that stress goes into the bucket. And then if there's food sensitivities, any internal stresses, too much bad bacteria, parasites, etc., all that goes into that stress bucket. If that stress bucket's maxed out, that's what ran us in here it ran us into the ground pretty much. We need to start, before we start making any progress, we need to release as much of that stress as possible. We're always going to be dealing with stress, but we need to create a buffer. My next video after this, I'm going to actually talk about creating our own stress buffer. I'll go into it in a lot more detail. But that's our goal, to create a bit of a buffer so we can start making progress, okay? So when people start kind of dealing with the stresses, they start getting a bit of, like, emotions start to come back, but not nice emotions. So we have to retrace this. Depression usually kicks in again, and anxiety. And this can keep people kind of traveling back and forth between depression and DPDO. The anxiety and the depression triggers more worries, and again just feeds that little bit of stress hormone that we got left and puts us back down and just empties the tank again. And we could be here for a long period of time. Eventually we might get a little bit of relief. And I get a lot of people asking, am I making progress? I'm feeling depressed now. I had no emotions, now I have emotions. People don't know if they're making steps forward or steps back. They're actually making steps forward. Okay, so just stay on the path. It's a tough journey. I went through it myself, and yeah, so all I can say is check out this video after this, and you'll learn a little bit about some therapies that you can use to bring that nervous system back. A lot of people go to talk therapy, which is great for mental emotional stress, but it's not getting to the nervous system. So somatic experience seems to be very effective, as well as EMDR. So that video that I've been talking about, that goes into a bit of detail on those two different therapies, okay? So definitely worth looking into, and hopefully that made a bit of sense to you guys, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.